Hey, I'm Derek. I'm here at Gamers Haven for a Song of Ice and Fire tournament. I just finished my first game with my opponent Lee. I was playing Targaryens, he was playing neutrals. I had 3 units, 1 Screamer, 1 Flayed Men, and 1 Veteran unit. He had 2 Flayed Men, 1 Stormcrow. I beat the game with a crushing victory. I think the problem that we played Dance of Dragons, and I think the reason I won that one was because he took the zones rather quickly within like the first round, and those zones slow you down. So I saw that, and as a Targaryen player, I knew I could move faster than him, so I let him take them, and I just took out his units one by one as soon as he took them, because he couldn't catch up to me. He was like spread out across the entire board, and I just took his units out with all 3 of my guys, one at a time. And by the time he finally caught up to me, I was able to attack him before he could attack me, and that's what led me to winning, I think.
Yeah, so I lost the first game. One of those moments where I had a numbskull decision where I let him get the free attack action. If I hadn't done that, I potentially would have won, or at least had a much better chance. So bummer looking back, but a learning moment, and Bob was a great sport, so good game.
So I've played the Targaryens. Probably, I think this is only the 2nd time I ever played them. I'm playing Night's Watch, and I got a little scared for a minute. I had Brienne in my army, and I absolutely stomped some Flayed Men, which was pretty satisfying. But I got pretty lucky because my opponent made a mistake, and I kind of capitalized on that mistake. So I ended up with a crushing victory, and it was a fun game. It was a good game. I helped him out at the end and told him what he could have done different that could have really changed the game. But that's what I'm here for. I'm here to try to help people get better too. So it's a fun game. He had fun with it as well, but ended up with the crushing, so stay at the top table.
So I managed to pull my first victory on a tournament stage, 8-4 on my end. So go Starks. That's inappropriate, sir. Family store, family store. He's sitting there just whatever. But yeah, I thought the game wasn't mine. The list is designed to just hold on to a point and then never let it go. That's exactly how it performed. I'm really happy with it. But he had a bunch of scary looking cavalry, was able to charge him from behind for 12 hits, devastating impact. Brendan, Tully the tank engine for the win, hopefully to go further. So, yay.
Hi, so my name is Zach Kratz. I came here, I'm playing Lannisters. I've got 2 lists, one headed up by the High Sparrow, one headed up by Tyrion Lannister. It was a Lannister mirror match. He played High Sparrow, I opted to go with my Tyrion list, and it ended up being a surprising amount of use from the Flayed Men. None of my other units made an attack, and the Flayed Men tabled the entire army by abusing Tyrion's reactivation cards. They're good for 9.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Maximilian Sart, also known as the Iron Cairo on the Discord. So Iron Cairo on Discord, usually I'm on the Baratheon one or the Free Folk one, or asking rules or showing some paint jobs. Anyways, today we're here at Gamers Haven in Parma Heights, Ohio, so Northeast Ohio. Again, that's Gamers Haven. Pretty cool thing, about 6 months ago my dad decided to retire from construction to buy the gaming store that I grew up playing at. So dream come true. My parents now own this gaming store, and we are throwing our first big tournament. We've had one before, which you can see on the channel, a little smaller, 6-person. This one is 16-person, so we had to actually cap it out for sake of table space. And we've got an awesome array of players. We got pretty much everything represented except for Baratheon, but the funny thing is, one of our guys had to bounce out right before the tournament started. He wasn't able to make it because of health concerns, I believe. So I'm playing funsies games against the person with the bye, and I play Baratheon, so that kind of works out good. So every army is represented in one way or another here. We got a pretty good spread, a heavier chunk of Stark and Neutral and Lannister, and then we still have some sprinkled in Targaryen and Night's Watch, and a Free Folk player too. So the games have actually just got underway for their 2nd round, going with an hour-and-a-half time cap, trying to spread out the terrain. We're doing randomized terrain, so I'm rolling for it. I'm setting it out to get the games going a little faster, trying to rotate the tables to the best of my ability. I'm just one guy, and this is definitely not my profession, but having a ton of fun. Everyone's having a great time as far as prizes go. We got first place, second place, third place prizes. We've got best painted prize. We also have Best Sportsman. That's a big one we always want to run. And then everyone's going to walk away with a consolation prize of something, whether it be activation banners or cool special edition rulers. We got some special edition roos. So some different things in there. I think even some gift certificates for the store and stuff like that. So if you're looking to get into A Song of Ice and Fire and you live anywhere in kind of the Ohio area, come on over to Gamers Haven, Parma Heights. We have an awesome text chain going where we all communicate. It's massive. It blows up your phone all day, so you got to hide the notifications on it. We also do have our own local Discord too, which I'll try to link down below. But yeah, we got everything going on right now. Everyone right now getting along awesome. Tournament's going really, really smooth. Just mapped everything out. I think we had 3 or 4 crushing victories in the first round, which was pretty wild. So it was a challenge for me to match the tables and everything. But yeah, stay tuned. Enjoy those reports from the players. Rather than doing a true battle report style, we're just going to kind of do a montage here. And then our videographer, big thanks to Zebulon Thomas, ZT Films. He's doing all of our work here. He's going to be interviewing the different players and seeing what worked, what didn't work, what they might use in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this type of content. There's a lot of battle reports out there, and we would like to get into that eventually. But at least at this time, we try to give you something to watch, enjoy, kind of look out for. So yeah. Again, Gamers Haven, Parma Heights, Ohio. I'm the Iron Cairo on Discord. Feel free to message me for anything. I'm sure I won't get every rule perfect here or anything like that, but I'm trying my best. So thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
So round 2 was a crushing victory, this time Lannister versus Targaryen. Targaryens headed up by Khal Drogo and some veterans, and Lannister headed up by the High Sparrow, running 3 poor fellows and a unit of warrior sons, all with champions of the faith. He came in, he charged really hard, he played really aggressive like Dothraki want to, and he got all the poor fellows very low, but between the champion, their innate ability, and the cards that High Sparrow has, they are able to heal on average somewhere between 6 and 10 wounds every single time that they activated. And as for the rest of it, the poor fellows weren't hitting very hard. Their auto wound ability literally just tore down tray after tray and ended up taking it.
So I got my first victory of the tournament against the Starks. I was using the Lannisters. I was able to stop his great axes due to Cersei and making him take some panic tests before they could even hit me, so I got pretty lucky there. It was a really good game though, and I had a lot of fun.
Played against a list I've never played against before. I've been running the same list the whole time. I don't plan on switching just because it's been so powerful for me. Jon Snow is pretty overpowered commander, but I brought Brienne in my list, and it's really taken over the games for me. I was able to capitalize on a couple of his mistakes. I felt a little bad at one point because he forgot to do a couple things, but we didn't realize it till later. I'm not familiar with his army too much, so I couldn't really remind him. But the way it worked out is I ended up beating him 8-4, I believe it was, 8-4, and moved on to the final table. If I win, I think I win the tournament. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to be playing against a good player, so we'll see what happens with that.
Hey, yeah, we're playing championship round up next. I'm up against Bob, Night's Watch player, so they're the emo guys. They are very sad. They're depressed all the time, and so will Bob after this match, because I really do plan on Stark furying all over him. Which would just make him cry. Nice thing about Night's Watch is when you get the box, it comes with a roll of wax paper and tissues. The wax paper so their candy asses don't stick to seats, and the tissues are for their crying eyes.
Could you guys move a little closer together?
Yeah, every time we get close, he stares at me lovingly. We're in the championship together.
Yeah, be prepared right now for a little bit of Night's Watch crap talking here.
Yeah, it happens. They're
since the Starks got so buffed now, he's all good and stuff.
Yeah,
you
know? we're all great because they just kind of made us even with everybody else, and they added a point to his overpowered unit.
No, I'm glad to see Starks in the final, because they were never finishing in finals and competitive tournaments. And I mean, I know this was somewhat of there were some more novice people in this tournament, but they have been finishing more towards like actual contention. So it's good for the game, honestly, it is. So
it's great for the game. Not so good for Night's Watch.
Not at all. And of course, I'm playing him in Fire and Blood, which is probably the worst matchup.
Yes, it's very bad for Night's Watch, period. In fact, everything is bad for Night's Watch. Their points, their lists.
I'm not laughing at him. Someone's behind you right now taking their shirt off. So
the amount of tears.
I'm getting ready for my game.
I had to take all the armor off my guys because with all the tears that come from the Night's Watch, the armor rusts and my guys move slow. So
yeah, but those great axes got a speed buff, so they don't move that slow, you know. So
well, it is through the teardrops. They move a lot slower.
Gotcha.
It's hindering
the bog, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you guys create the tear bogs. The bog of tears. And the other problem that we have is holding the umbrella while we're holding the axes. It makes it difficult as well. You know, because the amount of tears.
Okay, well, I can't wait till I get engaged and get hit on twos and auto wounds.
I don't know about.
So I'm just gonna run away.
I'm not proposing to him. So. I don't know what he's talking about. This isn't that kind of game. There's going to be no proposing, no rings involved at all in this. I am excited though to hear the chemical romance being played in the background while we play against the Night's Watch.
Yeah. So all right. Well, yeah. Good luck. Hope your dice rolls suck. So.
I would say I hope your unit sucks, but they do. So.
All right.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I wasn't going into the tournament, and now they tell me I have a chance at second place. Lannisters versus Lannisters, so
Yep.
good luck.
Good luck. We're going to keep it in the family and try to make
That's their
sure that
motto.
the red and the gold get second. Which either of us wins.
All right, was fortunate enough to get a couple wins in the middle games and catch up. It was Carl, right?
Yeah.
A little afraid to play Free Folk. I've never done it before, and he's going to have probably over double the units I do. So it'll be a much different play style potentially to see that in action. So
See. Yeah, I forgot I didn't have a weakened token on a unit that I did, and it cost me big time last game. I pretty much shut down Tully Cav for almost the whole game, and then until I didn't. But Targaryens the movement's hard to match, even in like a Harma list that I may or may not be bringing. So we'll see.
We took over Gamers Haven in November 2019. We're really excited that we did special facades in each room to make them all have themes. We have tournaments going on. Today is Song of Ice and Fire. We get bolt action tournaments. We have lots of D&D going on. We encourage everybody to come. We'd like to say we encourage people to loiter. We encourage loitering. Please come and see our shop. We are very excited. We want to be the cheers of the gaming stores. Everybody is welcome, and everybody, we want you to feel like it's your second home.
So just got done playing the championship game against Bob and his emo Night's Watch. I should have cut his deck. I didn't. I trusted him. First mistake, never trust Night's Watch player. He stacked the deck because every card he needed at every moment was right there as he drew them, so he could do all the monster combos. So he totally cheated. He even somewhat admitted that with a phone call to his wife where he said, hey, I'm using the loaded dice and they're working great. I didn't think nothing of it because I figured I'd still beat him fair up, straight up. But he cheated on a couple rolls, slid in a couple cards. It happens. I'll take my defeat graciously. I didn't cheat. I played fair. Just want to put that out there. Night's Watch player definitely cheated. Totally cheated. There's probably some video footage. You'll see him dealing off the bottom of his deck. I understand it. It's great. But again, great game. Had a great time here. Gamers Haven put on an amazing show for us. Couldn't ask for a better place to play a game.
All right, so I guess I won. That's pretty awesome. Honestly, I was coming in the day hoping to win 2 games, and the dice went in my favor all day. Everyone says I cheated, but I really didn't. I promise. Anyways, I can't stop laughing now. So the last game I played, literally every card I got went in my favor. I got everything when I needed it. I didn't even have to draw cards to get it, which was awesome. I mean, I played well, but I did get pretty lucky with that. Most of the day I wasn't getting the cards I needed, and Brienne was just ridiculous in the Sworn Brothers. I got saved so many times from panic from that. I don't know, it was just pretty awesome. My dice were loaded today. That's what everyone else would say. So, but anyways, pretty cool games today. I'm burned out. I'm tired. I'd probably take a week off from playing. So, yeah, I can't wait to do this again.
Really good work for yourselves. That was fantastic. Better than I could have even expected. There were no table flips, no rage outs, nothing like that. That was awesome. So that's really special. When you get 15, 16 guys in a room trying to compete for stuff that has monetary value, and you put time and effort into list building and painting and everything that goes into gaming, it's fair to get serious, get frustrated. But really, I never saw it walking around the room. We did quite a bit. The owners were also walking around the room. Nobody saw that. Actually, it made the Best Sportsmanship Award super challenging because everybody really was in the running for that. So everyone did awesome. So thanks so much for making that such a hard choice. In fact, you made it so hard that we added more awards for it. So that's really special. I hope everyone had a good time. We had a lot of beginner players here, so I also want to give a big round of applause to some of the beginner players. Chris, Ted, Gary, Brandon, we got Josh, you guys are all beginner, Lee coming back. Having the courage to show up and play in a tournament like this, the cool thing about that is you get it. It's just fun, man. You got to play 4 games in one day. That's awesome. There's no better way to learn how to play the game than to play against 4 other people out here who put time into playing that game too. So everyone hopefully has become a better player for being here. So I appreciate that. I really appreciate anyone who was willing to play me in their buy games. That was really cool too. So I got a chance to play a little bit as well. So thank you very much for that. So I'm going to start off bottom up, but this is kind of a bittersweet one here. So I got Chris. Chris, I want you to come on up here. You actually, so Chris, you get to pick any of these bags, just one of them. There's everything in these bags from like a full unit of Night's Watch or Free Folk, all the way to some tokens or some activation markers, rulers. You can actually see that part. So Jeff was kind enough, he had to leave, he had to peace out, but Jeff was kind enough to have some cool Etsy markers that he donated. So a couple of the bags have those Etsy markers in them. So a lot of activation ones, some special edition Roos are in there. If you get a Roos and you already have a special edition Roos, feel free to stick around, maybe hang around, see if someone who doesn't have him wants that special edition model. Maybe you guys can do some trades and stuff like that. So feel free, I don't care if you pick them up and weigh them. The other thing, as you're kind of filling out those bags, Chris is one of the winners of Best Sportsman. So Best Sportsmanship Award. So good work, Chris. You get to pick any unit box over there, or if it's something that isn't over there, you can pre-order with Dad or anything. So yeah, man.
So any of these?
Any of the bags, man.
I'm gonna say that every single person I played against, I'm pretty sure cheated.
Cheated, yeah. Not the viewers. What are you doing?
You played Bob too?
Bob's not a good example of who to follow, man. That's
right. You guys, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bob has -4 on sportsmanlike conduct.
So next up we had Jeff. Jeff, like I said, had to bounce out early.
Chris.
Next up we had Lee with 6 tournament points and 4 secondary points. So Lee, come on up, make a selection here, and then this actually wasn't really intentional based on ordering or anything like that, but Lee, you are also a winner of Best Sportsmanship Award. So you get to select a unit box too here after everything gets rolling. Feel free to kind of look now, but yeah, so that's, again, you guys made it really hard and we added some extra ones in, but you also got Best Sportsmanship Award. So thanks so much, thanks for coming out. Lee hadn't played the game in like 6 months or more. He had a baby, so
no excuse. He looks great for him.
He looks great for having that baby.
That's been working out. I can tell. There's going to be a house award here. There is a third one. There's going to be a house award. And so here, there's a third one. You go ahead and pick.
So yeah, but hang on, I'll come to you in a second. So next up we have Gary. Gary, come on up.
You get a box.
So Gary came in with 6 tournament points and 5 secondary points. So very, very good. Also had the courage to come up and play, being a pretty darn new player. So that's pretty special too.
Yeah.
To me.
Thanks for not cheating. Thanks for not cheating.
Gary also kind of played me in the game too, so that's awesome.
Killing me.
Next up with 8 tournament points. This was a lot of you guys were stacked up at this tournament point range, by the way. 8 tournament points, 7 secondary points, 27 points destroyed. I have Josh, pink paper. The pink paper, the only one. So, and again, if you get a bag that's not stuff you're really digging, feel free to stick around and kind of, if you guys want to trade bags.
The only one who didn't print it out.
Congratulations.
Oh no, there's more, but you were late too, so.
Next up we have Rick, coming in with 8 tournament points, 7 secondary points, and 49 points destroyed. So feel free to take one there. And winner of the House Award. Oh yeah, you're gonna mess with the Night's Watch player at that.
That is. I have one of these bags.
No, okay, I meant what was in it. Or what my ass with Night's Watch. So, next up we have Derek with 8 tournament points, 8 secondary points, 52 points destroyed. So feel free.
Great job, Eric.
Derek.
Great work. Thanks for not playing Night's Watch.
Next up, we have Rick Campbell with 8 tournament points.
Unbelievable.
Rick's probably only played 5 games of this game total in his life, and they were all about 6 to 8 months ago.
And it wasn't a big faction he played with.
Yeah, that's true, and they were with Lannisters. So, Rick coming in with the new box of Targaryen.
Yeah.
All right, next up. We have Brandon with 8 tournament points, 9 secondary points, and 71 points destroyed, which is monster. He made it as high as 2nd table, so that was big time. Another
real
new
funny
player
story about Brandon that I gotta tell, and he knows I'm gonna. Yep,
late entry.
So he walked in here 2 nights ago with his wife, and she whooped his ass. Okay, and I go, dude, you're kidding me. He goes, yeah, and that was with my tournament list too. What I didn't understand was she played his tournament list, so she whooped his ass with his own list.
Okay, so very, very good, Brandon. Again, thanks for coming up. Thanks for having the courage to play, be a new player. Next up with 8 tournament points, 10 secondary points, 36 points destroyed is Brian.
Thanks for not playing Night's Watch, Brian.
Kudos to Chad for giving Brian all D3s to roll.
He didn't know the difference.
He was playing with D3s, played it for 4 games. Didn't notice.
Didn't notice.
All right, next up, there's a really cool one, another new player in our group. So Ted with 10 tournament points, 9 secondary points, and 24 points destroyed.
Woo! Best smelling guy in here.
Oh.
It was funny.
All right. Next up, with 10 tournament points, 10 secondary points, 43 points destroyed, making it all the way to top table in the last game, Chad.
Might not go unit in there.
For that other army that you play that you also hate.
For the
ragged shit. I guess you'll have to play. I guess you'll have to play.
I saw red.
Who plays Lannisters?
Okay. Next up, with 10 tournament points, 12 secondary points, and 70 points destroyed, Carl.
Yeah.
Carl, 3rd place, you come in. Some Stormcrow archers, man. Sweet. So, awesome.
And then there was one.
It's a 2.
Two.
In second place.
Math, or 2.
In second place, with 10 tournament points, 13 secondary points, and 76 points destroyed, which was top end. is Zach.
Oh my
Zach.
gosh.
Zach with the slaughterhouse. So Zach, you actually get to pick 2 units, either over here or for buy. Oh, he'll order them for you. He can order them for you. Yeah, cool. So.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Second place. So Dad, he'll order from you too. Oh, another thing about Zach. Zach won Best Painted. So another one. So guys, thanks for making that a hard award. That was another one where we had we basically, the 3 of us didn't agree. We each picked 2 to 3 people, and the only person we agreed on was Zach. So really cool. So he ended up all 3 votes. So what that shows too, when it comes to painting, it's all about flavor and who likes what. So but that's why we included 3 there. So
he was the other choice.
yeah, my mom voted for Brian, who was using my models. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom. I'm glad to know she liked mine. And in first place, the guy who organizes all of this to begin with, playing Faction Emo, Bob with 12 tournament points.
All hail the champs.
Destroyed. Well done.
Oh my god.
Great job, Bob.
So Bob, a picture for
Good job.
What's that?
What's he gonna do, BBO?
over here.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the watch.
It's great playing you, Bob.
All right. So awesome, guys. Like I said, I can't thank you guys enough for coming out, filling up the event too. When we decided to do this, when Bob and me and the owners here, when we decided to do this, I would not have guessed that we were going to have to cap the tournament. And all of a sudden, like a couple weeks ago, Bob's like, hey man, I think we have to cap the tournament. I don't know if we have enough table space to make that work, and we ended up having to do that. Like I said, we had 16 entries actually. One guy had to back out last minute, but that's all right. So yeah, I mean, 15 of you guys showing up from all over the place. Like I said, new players and experienced players clashing it out. There were plenty of newer players towards the top and middle of that pack. Plenty of new players that made their way into that first, second, third table. So that was really cool. I really like the way that Cool Mini or Not does tournament styling, so that you kind of feel like you're in this built-in playoff at all times. I think that's pretty clever too. So big round of applause for all of you guys. So thank you so much for coming out. Big round of applause for Gamers Haven too for hosting. Thanks, Gamers Haven. Thanks, Gamers Haven. Thank you there. Hey guys, so this is Dr. Max, the Iron Cairo on Discord, and I'm just trying to go over some of the tournament breakdown of what happened in that tournament day. So you've gotten some interviews, you've gotten some game footage, but I wanted to show some lists and the breakdown of what teams won what, and kind of how that worked out so that you guys, as the viewers, get a little better idea of how things went. This is being filmed at my office, so you might hear some random phones ring in, or some weights dropping, or different things like that. But again, we wanted to get this footage out to you, so pardon the extra noise. Okay, so guys, you can see here, this is a breakdown of everyone's place, player name, faction, and their ranking. So Bob, our local Night's Watch player, he took first place. He's Samwell Tarley on the Discord. Our second place player was Zach with his Lannisters, predominantly his Faith list. He's Tyrion Kingslapper, I believe, on the Discord. And then we got Carl Black here coming in third place with his Free Folk. I think his name is Wildcard Carl on the Discord. So it's pretty cool because our top 3 players are real active players on that Discord. Fourth place went to one of our top Stark players, Chad. He was actually playing top table in the last game. But because of the way the games broke down and everything, in the decisive victory in that last game, it pushed him all the way down to 4th by the end there. So just kind of a product of the way CMON does their tournament brackets and placings, but I kind of like it because it also gives players playing at the second or third table hope when they're playing that game that they might be able to leapfrog some people and get a podium spot. So we also had Ted. Ted's one of our newest players, and he came in at 5th, so that he was kind of a cool sleeper pick in this. He was running a Tully list, and I'll try to show you some of these lists. Then we have Brian. He's been one of our players since the very beginning with the Kickstarter.
playing his Lannisters. So I know Dice didn't do him any favors in this tournament, but I think he also just ran up against some good players as well, so he'd probably tell you that too. We have Brandon. He's one of our newest players playing his Lannisters. Then we've got 2 Targaryen lists here, and you know, one thing that's interesting if I don't get around to showing the Targaryen lists is that the Targaryens have kind of a funny playstyle with just their starter out and some neutrals. So they have this YOLO all or nothing type of style where they either totally blow their opponent apart or they get tabled because whatever they were trying to do didn't work. And that's what we saw with our Targaryen players. So both of them ended up either crushing opponents or getting crushed depending on the game turnout. We had Rick down here, Starks. He's another one of our longtime players. So just ran up against some good lists. Josh, very, very novice Lannister player, but still got some good games in. You can see all of our neutrals kind of bundled up here in one. So it was cool. We had 3 neutral players come out, and they did have different lists. So that was pretty cool to see that in effect as well. One of them, Lee, he basically 30 points. He just ran 2 flayed men, some Stormcrow archers, and Roose, I think, and maybe Littlefinger or Tycho as his NCUs. So that was kind of an interesting list. I actually thought it would perform a little higher than it did. He was asking me about lists before the tournament started, and I told him it'd do good. I guess I lied to him. And then Jeff coming in here with Targaryen. This is kind of a goofy placement for Jeff. He actually had to leave for the last game, so that's what pushed him down here. He actually got a win in there too, but again, he had to leave, so he didn't play in his last game, which kind of pushed him down the list here. So now I'm going to show you guys some of the tournament lists. These are rosters made from that Cool Mini or Not Song of Ice and Fire tournament packet. These were really helpful for me running the tournament. Made everything really easy. So first up, we got Bob in first place. You can see here he played Rick D with his Lannisters. He played Brian, again, one of our real solid Lannister players. I'm sorry, Rick was playing with the Starks. Brian was playing with Lannisters. Then he ended up playing Zach, who ended up taking second place. And then he ended up playing Chad, who at the top table there, who ended up taking fourth. So pretty strong strength of schedule here. You can kind of see how those games turned out as far as points destroyed over here. I predominantly saw him running his Jon Snow list. If he ran Othel, I just didn't see it. But he ran kind of your standard Jon Snow list, veterans with Jon Snow, Ghost, Ranger Trackers, and Sworn Brothers with Brienne. That was the unique part, throwing Brienne in there. That was a last-minute decision for him, and I know she blew up some units that she claimed an oath on. So that was really cool to see in effect, and for him, again, that was a last-minute decision to go with Brienne. He used Eamon and Craster as his NCUs, so you could see just a lot of healing in this list. But yeah, he did great. Really, really good turnout for Bob. Bob's the heartbeat of our group. So if I'm the guy kind of running things on the back end, he's the guy keeping everyone excited and alive in our text chats and everything. So again, that's Samuel Tarley on the Discord. Awesome guy. Feel free to message him for anything Night's Watch related. He also plays some Targaryens and neutrals too. Super, super nice guy. You can even see him on the Tabletop Simulator. He loves to play on that at my despair because he doesn't paint all of his models. So, but yeah, he did a great job. I was really excited for Bob. You can see here, Faction, he played Emo. Next list over here, we're going to go with Zach. So Zach, second place, and I'm not going to go through all these, but I just wanted to go through top ones. Zach played one of our newer Lannister players with Josh. He played one of our more experienced players, but Derek had just cracked open his Targaryens pretty much. So he went up against Derek. He got the best of him. Then he faced Bob, who of course got first place. So he took a loss there, but it was a real narrow defeat, as you can see here. And then he faced Brandon in the last game, one of our newer Lannister players. So decent strength of schedule here. I mainly saw him using the High Sparrow list. Again, if he used his second list with, I think that's Tyrion in there, that was more of like a denial list with Flayed Men, Guards, and Knights of Casterly Rock, Walder, and Pycelle. If he used that list, I just didn't see it on the table when I was moving around. He mainly used this High Sparrow list with 3 Poor Fellows with a champion in there, and then Warrior's Sons with a champion in there. And that list just had incredible sustain and healing at 30 points. So what I noticed was just people were having a hard time killing anything in that list. So if they couldn't get up on him on the nodes or victory conditions, it was really hard to kill any of his units to either knock them off of objectives or to score victory points through victory through combat. So that faith list worked really good for him. Poor fellows are really nice in that list because they're just dealing pure wounds to people with those faith tokens. So that ended up, working out really, really great for Zach. He also won Best Painted, which you probably saw the footage for, but he had a really nice painted army as well. This next one here, Carl Black, I know he writes for On the Table Gaming too. Real nice guy. He actually helped me out with some magnetizing of my units, which was awesome because I'm doing that with my Baratheons right now. Guy after my own heart, playing the Free Folk. That was my faction before the Baratheons dropped. I'm still playing Free Folk quite a bit. So his schedule here, he played 2 of our newer players in Rick and Gary. And then, and that first Rick was Rick Dornbush, who would be one of our Stark players. Then he went up against Gary, neutral player. Chad, who ended up being a top table in that last game. That's where he took his loss. That was a Stark player. And I want to say that game mode was Fire and Blood too. So that's, kind of everything stacked against you when you're going Starks, Fire and Blood, and you're Free Folk with 30 points of Free Folk on the table. I saw him using a lot of the Weeper list, so his second list, so he could scream across the table using the Harma slingshot. Really interesting, he was using 3 NCUs, including Mance, at 30 points. I was really surprised by that. So he was usually only running 5 combat units and nothing with an armor save better than a 5-up. So no Giants, no Then, no Followers of Bone. Of course, Followers of Bone hadn't been buffed by the time of this tournament. So really interesting. I'm really surprised we didn't see someone try to go out and table his army. The advantage you have as a Free Folk player, if everyone's going to try to play to the objectives, you're going to survive a little bit better. I'm surprised that we didn't have a player just try to scream at him and try to blow his army up and kill it. Not that it would have worked necessarily, because Carl's a very, very good player, but when I see a list like this as a player, I look at that and go, okay, well, instead of trying to go for objectives, I'm just going to try to wipe that army off the table. Which again, easier said than done, especially against a very, very good player. But yeah, he was really surprising people. He was the only Free Folk player too, so pretty cool. So yeah. And then we'll kind of just go through a couple more, or at least one more. I wanted to show at least a Stark list here too. So here we have the Stark list. And I'm not sure which one he was running more as far as his commander list. He probably ran both. Roger Castle Commander's finding his way into a lot of our Stark games. I'm probably partially responsible for that because Roderick is really good against Free Folk, and because I was playing Free Folk a lot, people started to get privy to using Roderick and not bringing as many dogs because we were kind of abusing him as a Free Folk. So yeah, you can see here, pretty conventional lists actually. So you look at that, of course there's Great Axes in there, you see the Tully Cav in there, great units, especially if you got Sansa in there to go fish cards for you. He had a really strong strength of schedule if you really look at where he ended up. So he played Brandon, who ended up at 3rd table, or actually 2nd table by the last game, playing Lannisters. Then he played Ted, who ended up 5th, Carl, who ended up 3rd with Free Folk, and then Bob, who ended up 1st. So Chad probably had the hardest strength of schedule. And the only reason he really got knocked down to 4th and out of the 3 podium finishes was because that last game against Bob was a crushing defeat, which allowed Zach and Carl to leapfrog him. And that's challenging when you're playing at that last table. They were actually joking that they were going to just consciously draw and both take 1st place before the game started. But it's tricky. But again, I do like the way they do the tournament breakdown because it allows other players to stick around. Like if you got someone in there that's really trying to get a podium spot, you don't want them to lose their first game and then immediately just pack up their stuff and leave the tournament. So it really gave everyone incentive to see the tournament through with their 4 games. So that's really cool. So yeah, guys, this is basically a breakdown of some of those lists. Feel free to leave some comments, like, subscribe, follow us. Again, I'm Iron Cairo on the Discord. You can reach out to any of these guys too. Like I said, Wildcard Carl, Tyrion Kingslapper, and Samuel Tarley. Those are main guys kind of helping in our group here, especially Samuel Tarley really keeping our group together. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, and stay tuned for the next one.